3 of the top 5 quarterbacks, the top 2 wide receivers, and the number 1 tight end are all on bye in Week 10. When the NFL schedule makers put together Week 10 and scheduled the teams on bye, they did one thing. They told you, they told me, they told the entire fantasy industry to just plain old... What is going on, Headliner Nation? Hopefully everyone's doing well out there today, where we're talking about our quick and dirty top 30 wide receivers for Week 10 fantasy football. But with so many studs on bye, how about we do a giveaway to kind of ease the pain here in Week 10? I have from our friends over at Pristine Auction a signed Javonte Williams jersey right here in the... I love these orange jerseys of the Denver Broncos. Now, how do you get in on this giveaway? It's super simple. Hit the like button down below, leave a comment so I know you're interested, and then be sure to have your free account signed up at pristineauction.com. But most importantly, when you're signing up for that free account, use the referral code Headliners. By doing that, we're going to throw a coupon into your account. So if you're ever cruising through their site, find something you like, you get it at a little bit of a discount. Now, if you're looking for a little bit of a cheat code, if you're trying to build up your man cave a little bit, really utilize the 10-minute auctions on their site. Just log in during the day, during the week, and they have crazy deals running on 10-minute auctions. Everything that you see in my office is from Pristine Auction, and we've got it at a great price, so be sure to check it out. Then, in next week's wide receiver rankings video, I'll go ahead and announce the winner, so be sure to stay tuned. But now let's dive into the rankings, and at number 1, it can't be Tyreek Hill because he's not playing. It can't be A.J. Brown because he's not playing, so it's going to be Stefon Diggs of the Buffalo Bills. And did you know that Stefon Diggs was one of only 2 NFL wide receivers this season that have had at least 10 plus fantasy points in every single game this season? Now a matchup going up against Denver, I got him at number 1. Number 2, it's hashtag Doomtar in the comment section, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Who is the only other wide receiver on that list with Stefon Diggs? It's Amon-Ra St. Brown. And now he gets a great matchup going up against the Los Angeles Chargers, a team that allows points in bunches to wide receivers. I got Amon-Ra at number 2. Number 3 is CeeDee Lamb, who's on an absolute tear here over the last couple of weeks. It's crazy how much better this overall offense is when they really utilize CeeDee Lamb weekly. He's got like 30 targets over the last 2 games. Yeah, he's up here at number 3. Number 4 is Keenan Allen. He only has 1 game all season with less than 10 fantasy points, and now he has a matchup going up against the Detroit Lions. I talked about Amon-Ra and the success potentially against that Los Angeles Chargers defense. Well, if Detroit's scoring points, you better believe the Chargers are throwing, and with Josh Palmer on IR, I got Keenan Allen at number 4. Number 5, it's Mike Evans, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in a great matchup for him going up against Tennessee. Mike Evans continually gets shots down the field and looked at in the red zone. That paired with all the bye weeks this week, I got Mike Evans at number 5. Number 6 then is Chris Olave of the New Orleans Saints with a matchup going up against Minnesota. Olave continues to lead this team in targets and is just barely missing on a few deep shots each and every week. He found the end zone last week, and we're looking for him to do it again this week. He's at number 6. Number 7, it's Adam Thielen. Reliable there in Carolina. I absolutely hate Thursday night football games, but this one isn't a bad matchup going up against Chicago, so he's at number 7. Number 8 right now is T. Higgins. Now, word came out late on Wednesday that he was dealing with a hamstring injury. Is that the case, or are they just kind of resting him a little bit because they know Jamar Chase is not 100% healthy? He is definitely somebody we're paying super close attention to in this matchup against Houston. Number 9, it's Brandon Ayuk of the San Francisco 49ers off the bye week going to Jacksonville. A lot easier to throw on Jacksonville than it is to run on Jacksonville, so give me Ayuk at number 9. 10, it's DK Metcalf in a great matchup going up against Washington. Arguably one of the worst defenses in the NFL, and despite Seattle having a little bit of offensive struggle here as of late, it's a matchup like this against a Washington team that can right the ship, so I got DK at 10. Number 11, it's Michael Pittman in a matchup going up against the New England Patriots. Michael Pittman is the wide receiver 12 overall on the season, and that is absolutely crazy. He continues to produce even in tough matchups and continues to rack up receptions each and every week. He's at 11. 12, this is where I have Jamar Chase as of right now. Now, obviously, he's dealing with a back issue that he suffered in week 9. As this week progresses, the more and more practice he misses, the farther down the rankings he will fall. As of right now in this matchup going up against Houston, I got him at number 12. 13 is Terry McLaurin in a great matchup going up against Seattle. If Seattle can put up points on Washington, which everyone puts up points on Washington, they're going to have to continue to throw the ball. Sam Howell is out there weekly slinging the rock nonstop over 40 times a game, so Terry McLaurin is going to be right here at 13. 14, this is where I put DeAndre Hopkins in a matchup going up against Tampa Bay, a Tampa Bay defense that was absolutely carved up by CJ Stroud and the Texans last week. I got DeAndre Hopkins at 14. 15, it's Nico Collins of the Houston Texans in a matchup going up against Cincinnati. Nico may not have the flash of Tank Dell, but he's got a lot more consistency. Each and every week he's having a chance at a big play, and going up against Cincinnati, they may need a couple of those in Houston because they can't run the ball for crap. I got Nico at 15. 16 is Christian Kirk coming off the bye week going up against the San Francisco 49ers. Now, when you hear that, you think it's a difficult matchup, but San Francisco is allowing points in bunches right now to opposing wide receivers because their secondary is decimated with injuries. So Christian Kirk at number 16. 17, this is where I've dropped Davante Adams to a very difficult matchup for him going up against the New York Jets. And even though the Raiders are going to play a little bit better with no more Josh McDaniels, this is still going to be a very difficult matchup, and we still have to worry about the inaccuracies of Aiden O'Connell. Add in the fact that Jacoby Myers continues to be the safer option here. I got Adams down at 17. 18 is Deontay Johnson racking up them targets since he's returned. He's got a matchup going up against Green Bay. 19, Marquise Hollywood Brown. He now gets his quarterback one back. Kyler Murray and Marquise Brown reunited. Don't forget, through the first few weeks of 2022, Marquise Hollywood Brown was a top 10 wide receiver with Kyler Murray in Arizona. How about number 20? It's Garrett Wilson. He hasn't done anything flashy since like week 2, but the guy continues to get targets. 12 plus targets now in multiple games in a row, and even though it's not sexy, it's safe in a matchup going up against Las Vegas. Got Garrett Wilson at 20. 21, it's DJ Moore of the Chicago Bears playing that Thursday night game against Carolina. Not the easiest of matchups, and DJ Moore isn't getting anything deeper down the field. It's a bunch of short dump-offs, and he's really trying to put in some work after the catch. Unfortunately, that makes it highly inconsistent, and that's why he's down to 21. 22 is Courtland Sutton. All this guy does is catch touchdowns, probably because they don't throw him the ball very much. But in a matchup going up against Buffalo, where they're probably going to be trailing, I got Courtland Sutton at 22. 23, Jordan Addison, Minnesota Vikings, in a matchup going up against New Orleans. And now that we know that Josh Dobbs is the starting quarterback in Minnesota, it makes me feel a little bit better about Jordan Addison. No, not Kirk Cousins type better for Jordan Addison, but definitely continues to give him that touchdown upside. We saw Josh Dobbs in Arizona continually feed Marquise Hollywood Brown. I expect something similar with Jordan Addison, so he's at 23. 24, Tank Dell, Houston Texans. Now, everybody knows I love myself some Tank Dell. The problem is Houston needs to love him a little bit more. I don't care how many snaps he's playing. If he's not getting consistent targets, it doesn't matter, because without targets, we don't have receptions, which means, right, we don't have fantasy points. Really hoping they can get a little bit more consistent here down the stretch, but for now, I got Tank Dell at 24. 25, Calvin Ridley. Hopefully it's not Calvin Diddley rest of the season. He had one of his best games of the year prior to the bye week. Now he has a chance to come off the bye, play at home against a banged up secondary in San Francisco. I got him at 25. 26, it's Deebo Samuel. He's not 100% healthy yet, but he is definitely trending in that direction. He's got that matchup going up against Jacksonville, and I have him lower than Brandon Ayuk for this reason. Deebo Samuel is a lot more reliant on yards after the catch. Brandon Ayuk on 3, 4, maybe 5 catches can give you a solid fantasy day. Deebo needs to put in work with the ball in his hands. Because of that, it's going to make him a lot less reliable week to week, and that's why he's at 26. 27, it's Tyler Lockett, another guy getting inconsistent volume, but the matchup is just too great to ignore. Washington, like I said before, absolutely blows, so Lockett's at 27. 28, it's Amari Cooper. He's got a crazy difficult matchup going up against Baltimore. They already faced off once this year, and dude walked away with like 1 reception. I don't know about you, but I'm looking for wide receivers that get more than 1 ball a week. 29 then is George Pickens of the Pittsburgh Steelers going up against Green Bay. What's going to happen in Pittsburgh now that Pickens has complained about his role? Mike Tomlin has already come out and said that he likes to see that passion from his players. Do they feed him the rock a little bit more? Maybe not volume-wise, but I would not be surprised to see him get a couple deep shots this week in Week 10. He's at 29. 30, it's Chris Godwin going up against Tennessee. Not a bad matchup, but Chris Godwin is more of the chain mover in this offense than the big play guy in this offense. Because of that, his ceiling's not going to be as high, and that's why he's at number 30. And I've done it for 9 weeks, so I'm not stopping now. How about a few names on the outside looking in no specific order? What about Jahan Dotson? He's finally playing good football. It's like all of a sudden Washington remembered they had him on their roster. A great matchup for him going up against Seattle. JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba getting more and more of this offense as the season goes on. In a great matchup going up against Washington. Demario Douglas, everybody thought this guy was going to be the second coming of Randy Moss, it sounded like last week. Went out, had, 5 for 50, whatever it was. Not a huge game. Now he'll get a chance to bounce back a little bit here against Indianapolis this week. Jacoby Myers, we mentioned him when we talked about Davante Adams. A tough matchup going up against the Jets. And really the only reason Jacoby Myers had a solid game last week was due to a rushing touchdown. That's not something we can count on weekly. How about Zay Flowers? Very difficult matchup for him going up against Cleveland. And really, Baltimore hasn't had to throw much lately. That's how great they've been playing. Their leads have been so big. Rashid Shaheed will always be down here in this mixture. The problem is, the dude has a 50-50 chance of booming or busting. Just like the guy that I have listed right after him, right? It's Gabe Davis. These guys are either going to score 20 or they're going to score like 2. What about the wide receivers in Green Bay? Both Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson. Doubs can't get consistent volume and Watson can't stay healthy. He's already been renamed Fantasy Bigfoot. He's taken the title away from Devontae Parker. And then last but not least, what about Drake London? Dealing with a groin injury last week. Does he make it back to the lineup here this week? If he doesn't matter, because Arthur Smith has no idea what the hell he's talking about. The dude went on a 5-minute rant yesterday about why they're not using Bijan Robinson in the red zone, and all he did was mumble for 5 minutes. Now, if Drake London is 100% healthy, he is someone who I do like in a matchup going up against Arizona, because Arizona is the worst team overall in the NFL. All right, but that's going to wrap up my quick and dirty top 30 wide receiver rankings for week 10 fantasy football. Remember, our rankings aren't all supposed to match. We're really supposed to come together as a community, really talk about these players as a whole, and when we do that, we build the best damn rankings there is in the entire fantasy football industry. So be sure to hit that like button, leave those comments down below so we can discuss certain players, and then do your part to make the world a better place.